Thank you for joining us for another episode of A Journey of Love. This is,
Nisha,
and I'm James.
my
And,
baby.
and today's topic is love and respect and how it intersects in relationships. Take it away, baby.
Questions to ask. Can love and respect live in a place where each do not reside? Hmm. Um, for us, I think foundationally, outside of the grace and mercy of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, we build upon that respect first, because love cannot live in a place that respect does not reside. So I think when it comes to, I won't speak on relationships in general. I'll speak on the relationship with this beautiful soul here. Um, Respect is something that cannot be passed over. It can't be minimized. It is the foundation of what makes us us. I feel like when it comes to respect, respect is the thing that allows you to be mindful of how you speak to one another. I think respect is what allows you to communicate to understand rather than to communicate to win. I think that respect is a place where growth happens, or the seed of growth happens, and love is what waters it. So love is a fruit of the tree of respect, if that makes any sense. What do you think, Bo?
Because, excuse me, I definitely agree. Respect is one of the major keys of the foundation of relationships, especially ours. We always make sure that we respect each other, whether it's in just respecting each other on the level of our time, our commitment, the way that we listen to each other when we may be conveying different perspectives to each other. We make sure that that respect is always there, and I think that's what has allowed our love to develop and blossom the way that it has because we have a solid foundation. Um, like my baby said, love it can't exist without respect. It may be like a just a word, but the action won't exist without respect. And the one thing, not the one thing, but one of the things I love about our relationship is that um not only is there the respect, but we also take time out to communicate with each other. We always make sure that we're connected. We always um care, show that we care and and we're present and consistent. And I think that all comes down to respecting each other because we want to show that we're not here to waste time. We're not here to just, waste any efforts or take each other for granted. We're here to continue to build towards what we have and what we will have because you can never stop reinforcing that foundation that includes respect because when you stop reinforcing that foundation the love can start to falter. What you think about that, baby?
Oh, I absolutely agree. One thing that James and I speak about all the time is the impact of consistency. Um, a lot of times I see relationships that tend to get to, an impasse, a rocky area. It's because one or both stop doing what they did to get one another, right? They stopped showing up in that way in which made them attracted to the other person and made them fall in love with that person, and they stopped showing up in that space. And I think the love and respect and the consistency thereof allows you to be mindful of those kind of things, right? So you're constantly in a place of, I'm thinking about this other person, and putting that person before yourself, which is a way that you show love through sacrifice, right? Um, there aren't any, decisions that we make that we don't consult each other, that we don't look for each other's opinion, or, look for the advisement of the other. Um, Not because we have to do it, but because it's respectful. At the bare minimum, it's just courteous, right? And sometimes that in and of itself is a reinforcement of what love looks like in this relationship, right? So it could be something like minuscule. It could be what we're gonna eat today. I know there's, I like spicy food. James is not really a spicy food person, but when I would order something, I'm never gonna get something that's just beneficial for me because that's not respectful because he can't partake on this meal. Little things like that. If there's something that I know that he prefers, I might just do a half a portion so he can have his and I can have mine. But it's never like we're gonna have what I'm gonna have and that's what it is because you're not being respectful of that person's decisions, that person's preferences, and it is something that shows love because why would you want to have a meal that's only beneficial to just you and then watch your partner stomach could be growling, you hearing the bubbles, you're just like, come on, you know. But I take it to that extent because it's something that's so small, but something if it's done continually can start to deteriorate the foundation of a relationship, you know. So, you know, if there is any order of things, it's always our faith, our respect, and then love. And everything else flows from that. Everything else is a fruit from that tree based off the fact that our seeds are grounded, our roots are strong, and we look to each other to make sure at all times we're constantly making sure that we're checking in. Not just like, oh, how's your day kind of thing, but like really checking in. Like we would ask each other, like, how's your mental space today? Like where are you at emotionally today? Or, what can I do to be better for you today? Or how do I show up for you better today? And those kind of things show love because you can go about your day. There's 24 hours in a day. You can go about your day not thinking about the person that you're with and be just fine with it, but you can respect them and love them by acting, by showing, by doing, by caring. And all of those things are, in the bubble of what respect looks like because you can't try to plant a seed of love where respect doesn't live. It doesn't happen. It's not gonna happen. It's like throwing a seed on hard ground. So I think when it comes to us, like we're constantly reassuring each other, making sure that we show up for each other. And even in the space where we disagree, the respect is I don't have to agree with you because we're different people, we have different perspectives, but I'm listening to you. I'm listening to your perspective. I'm listening to understand where you're coming from. And the love is receiving that information in a place where that person doesn't feel dismissed. So it shows up in a lot of places for us, you know.
Yeah, definitely. To bounce off with something that you mentioned, consideration, like something like you said, it could be small looking at the bigger picture, but it's not small at all to be considerate of when it comes to meals or making decisions. Because if you're moving as one, you should always consider the person that you're with. Like that's another thing with us. We always consider each other in everything. Like there's never a time where we're just making different like any kind of decisions and not thinking about how it's going to impact the other person or you know because at this point and moving forward, you know, decisions will impact one another. Like every decision is we're going to make it as a unit and it's going to impact us as a unit. So we definitely it's consideration, but it all comes back to respect and respecting one another, respecting our relationship, respecting where we are and where we want to be, because it all pours into and waters the love that we have and that we'll continue to cultivate and continue to grow. And, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, just like you, boo. Beautiful child, baby. Yes. I gotta give my baby a little compliment to see him blush a little bit every now and again. The the love that we have for each other is different, right? It is 23 years in the making. It is centered by Christ. It is fulfilled with our village. Our family is like so in love with each other, like um and it's an amazing place to be, right? To be able to see two families come together and pour into us, constantly pouring into us. Um, Things like that get to a place where we're what that's the love. It's it's not just us, it's those outside of us, you know, and because of that, we respect our love that much more. And we are grateful for our love that much more because we understand who it's touched and how those people have touched us in return. And so we can't take things like that for granted. And we don't walk in that space lightly. So we're very intentional about how we communicate with one another, how we show up for one another, how we, die to self for one another. Because, like I said, love is sacrificial. And for us to walk into a space of the me at times must die, right? We have to show up in places where, you know, the other person has 20 and you got to show up to fulfill and be able to fill that person's cup. Like I said, I was sick 2 weeks ago. I was just like totally out of it. And I was just like, oh, it'll be okay if we just miss an episode. And James was like, I need to show up for you because if this was me, you'd have showed up for me. And as hard as it was for me to say, no, bitch, this is all right, he just felt in this moment, I have to do a little extra because this is what we need to do to be consistent, right? And it's in those little moments when you understand how deep the respect lies. It's in those moments how you understand how beautiful the love is because, you could have easily been like, well, you know what? I'm gonna just take care of you and I'm gonna be there for you and things of that sort. But he knows the type of person I am, and I wouldn't have wanted the momentum to stop. So he stepped forward to do those kind of things. And it makes me love him just that much more to see just how much he understands the vision that we have together just to bring this podcast forward, because it's a venture that, we started in a conversation and literally it just materialized. And to know that someone is just like constantly in a space where they can push your ideas forward, push your goals forward, and you have the honor of doing the same for them. It's a beautiful thing. And these things cannot happen where respect and love do not reside. So I look at, the foundation of our relationship is always Christ, and the beams of our relationship are respect. And, the internal warmth is just the love. The way that, we show up for each other's families, the way that we show up for each other's kids, and the way we show up for each other, it just continues to solidify why the respect is so important. So in the way it intersects in this relationship is they're one and the same. They're married to each other. They're not like I respect you or I love you. It's I respect you and I loved you. I love you and I respect you. It's interchangeable for us, and it's very important that we're intentional about how we move when it comes to those things.
Definitely. Um, I couldn't say it any better. That was perfectly laid out. And I'm glad that we are on this journey with this podcast and just in life in general. And I pray that everyone that's tuning in, that your relationship also intersects with respect and love and also has that foundation with Christ as well. So thank you for tuning in to another episode. We appreciate the support.
Always.
Peace and love.